Hey everyone, thank you for listening. I want to dive right into this topic and not waste any time because this is a topic that has been on my heart my whole entire life, and this is about race issues in the United States. In 2024, we still have racial issues and a lot of confusion about people and where they come from. And I just want to discuss it because I'm a mixed race person and I see so many preconceived notions or misconceptions of being mixed, especially if you are half white or part white and you look like you're part white. There tends to be this stigma that people that are half white have this confusion of who they are, and then people saying that white people don't accept us. And then you have the other side that doesn't accept us either. So we're over here like, oh, we're confused. We don't know where to go, blah, blah, blah. Now, I will say, as being mixed, yes, there are people from your own cultures that will not accept you if you're mixed. But it doesn't mean that we as mixed people are confused. It just means that we're mixed and people are silly on both sides that don't accept that because we're both. We're all of whatever we're mixed with. We're not just white. We're not just black. We're not just Hispanic. We're not just Asian. We're mixed with all of that. So we're all of those things combined. And we stand on our own as mixed people in general, no matter what you're mixed with. But the subcategory of whatever you are mixed with, you represent that. You represent a blend of those cultures. And I just want to say that the only time that a mixed person is actually confused about who they are, it has to do with the way they were raised and what they were taught, but also people as they're growing up and how they react to them when they do certain things. For example, Barack Obama, the former president, he is half Kenyan, so he's African and half white. But when he was running for president, everyone's saying the first black president and everyone's calling him black and not acknowledging that he's actually mixed. But as soon as it's not convenient for him to be black anymore, now he ain't black. And then the same with Kamala Harris. We have so many people. I see a lot of black women and men saying that Kamala Harris ain't black, or, I guess she's black today. Well, okay. And it's like she's mixed with black. So her saying, I'm a black woman, it's like, okay, no, she's mixed. But if she says I'm black, well, yeah, that's partly true. If she says she's Indian, that's partly true because she's mixed with that. And it's not confusing. It's just that that's who we are. And I think that especially if you have a white mother or a mother who's not black, if you're mixed with black, that also is a big issue in the United States too, because from my experience, because my mother's white, but I have some friends that are mixed and their mother is black or their mother's like Asian, for example, and they don't get nearly as much heat. They still get it because they're mixed. So all mixed people are going to get some type of heat and hate. But at the end of the day, when you have a white mom and your dad is not white, there is this whole different type of stigma and discrimination. And it's like people hate you. Not everyone, obviously, because I've had people that never even looked twice at my race or my parents. But then I've had people that had something to say about that, or if they would argue with me or whatever, that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth, which your white mama or whatever. And my mom has faced so much discrimination too, because even like their neighbor called my mom like a white bee, it's just like things like that, where when you grow up with a white mom, you have a different outlook on life because of the way that you're treated by other people that are not mixed. And so as far as other white people, they make it known. Some of them can be racist, sure, but they know you're not full white. They know that you are mixed and they call you as such. But it's like in the black community, I feel like you're adopted as black. And in my case, so black men they're easier to call me black, but a black woman wouldn't. It's only when it's convenient. That's when, you're black. But if it's not convenient, or if I do something that's not black, then all of a sudden, oh, well, your mom is white and, you're Cuban and white and whatever, you ain't black, you don't even look black, all these different things. So it's like, okay, but I was black enough when it was time to stand up. But when it comes to other things, like just me being myself, then all of a sudden I'm not black enough. And then the difference is because I do hear some people saying, oh yeah, but no one wants to address the white community and how they treat you guys. Like, especially if you talk about someone like Meghan Markle and how the royal family treated her. And to that, I just say that white people have always been white people and how they are. Like, if you're not full white, rather they're racist or not, they don't sit there and beat around the bush and say, oh, well, you can be white today because you're standing up for white rights, but like tomorrow you're not white because, your dad is black or your dad is Indian or whatever. Then they don't do that. And that's the difference in the community. Like, if we're just talking about black and white, that's the difference. They don't throw us in and out of their space. We're not in their space because we're mixed. And that's just like the fine line. So in the black community, at least in my case, I can't speak for all mixed people, obviously. It's not a monolith, but I don't want to be identified as one race because I'm not. So when someone asks me, oh, what are you, or what are you mixed with, or where are you from? I just say I'm mixed. And if they say with what, then I'll tell them what I'm mixed with. But it's not where I'm like, oh, I'm white or I'm black or whatever. I never liked that. And even when you're trying to when you fill out the boxes or check the box of what you're mixed with, I always say multiracial or other if they don't have that option, because I am other, that my race isn't on here. And we do, as mixed people, and I'm talking mixed with anything, not just black and white, but mixed with like Hispanic and white or Asian and black, whatever. We need to have our own space where it's a true space that we can be safe and talk about all these things, because being mixed is just the dynamics are just so different. And especially even as simple as being mixed with the same things, but one of your parents being white, like your mom is white versus your mom being black, that's a completely different experience. And a lot of it has to do with, especially if you're a woman, your mom is the first woman that you see and where you get your beauty standards from. And especially if you're around your white mom and like she has sisters and a mother, your grandmother and all of these people that are white, that is what you see. And of course, we live in a world where white beauty standards are still at the top. I mean, that's just the way it is. And so you see it that way, versus if you have a black mother, you are seeing a black woman as your beauty standard and someone who you can identify with because it's your mom. And you do have a different outlook, even though you could still have the beauty issues, because even full black women can sometimes have that, because we unfortunately live in a society where white supremacy and white beauty standards are still at the top, and not just in the States, but all over the world. That it's still just something that everyone sees. But I just wanted to reiterate that we're not confused at all. It's not a confusing thing if you don't make it that way. Like, it doesn't have to be confusing. And I think a lot of mixed people, we just feel obligated to claim the black side, for example, because that is the easiest. It's not necessarily because we're praised, because I can say I was not praised in the black community. I mean, I wasn't treated like a princess, like I hear a lot of people saying. I mean, yes, of course, there's black people that were sweet to me and everything like that. But when it really comes down to it, I was more so not treated that way. Like, I was not praised, and people were letting me know right away that I'm not black, and that's okay, because I'm not, I mean, I'll straight up say that too. Like, no, I'm mixed with that. I'm not trying to be white or whatever. I'm half white, so there's no trying. I am that, and I'm not trying to be black. I am. I'm not trying to be Hispanic. I am. And so, yeah, that's the struggle. So that would be the quote unquote identity crisis or confusion that people might be misinterpreting, because mixed people are allowed to claim whatever they're mixed with. And if the other group doesn't want to accept them, that's fine. You don't need to accept me as a full-blooded Asian or a full-blooded Hispanic, because I'm not. But you can at least acknowledge that I'm mixed with that. And yeah, I am that. So whether you like it or not, that is what I am. I am that. Same with white people. I don't care that they might be racist and say, well, you're not full white or whatever, but I'm half white. My mom is white. So I can have some of that as well. I can get interested in whatever that culture is, black, whatever. And I just wanted to talk about that because it blows my mind sometimes that we're still having this discussion and there's still racial issues going on. But I definitely can see that the difference is, what color is your mama? If your mama's white, you're going to have more issues, especially if you're a woman. Because see, with men, it's like they still have issues too, but it's not as bad because with men, it's like the way that they navigate, I mean, it's a man's world still, regardless of how people feel. I mean, I don't agree with it, but it is. And so they have it a little bit easier when it comes to that. Plus, especially with preferences, like a lot of different women like that look of like mixed men because they look ambiguous. And, the same with women. It's like we also have that ambiguous look. And so a lot of men like that. But men just have it a little bit easier. And if they have a black mother, it's easier for them too, I feel. But for women, it's harder because of the beauty standards and trying to identify and then being thrown in and out of spaces. And, 1 minute you're good and 1 minute you're not enough. So yeah, that's where the confusion lies, because then it's like, well, what are we supposed to do at this point? And when you have people being disrespectful and trying to point out things about you, like, for example, when I was younger, I was a cheerleader and I was on this all black team. And so, I mean, I know how to dance now, but I will say that back then, my rhythm was like, I mean, I could dance a little bit, but not like a quote unquote black girl, And I just remember they were so rude and so mean about it. And they're like, look at this white girl trying to dance. And you know what I mean? And they were making fun of me to the point where I was like 7 or 8. It was like one of those little Pee-wee squad cheerleaders. And I was so sad. And that happened like for 3 years, because I cheered for 3 years for 3 different teams. And they were like that to me the whole entire time, like all of them. And there were no white people on the team. So yeah, I just remember that. And my mom was there. She was sitting in the car waiting, and she saw that I was upset because she could see even the coach, like they all were just talking about me and making fun of me and calling me white girl and all these different things. And my mom got out of the car because she sees that I'm upset. And she just defended me. And I think that says a lot. Now, I know that white moms get so much, just a bunch of people saying that they shouldn't be, doing this and that, like, or having black children or, mixed race children if they don't know the culture or they don't know how to do their hair, for an example, all these different things that they get all of this crap for. But for my mom, she also educated herself on a lot of different things too, and was sensitive to a lot of different topics. But she saw a lot of the bullying coming from people that are part of who I am. And she could, obviously I look different, and she just defended me on that and said, yeah, maybe it's my fault because she is half white, but at the same time, you guys should be trying to uplift her. You guys are on the same team. So my mom has come to the rescue a lot when it comes to these different people making fun of me. And then even my dad, because he's not white, other black women in particular have disrespected him, having comments about his wife, my mom, and calling her a white bee, saying that to him. And all of these things that I saw growing up. So in my case, for me, I saw a lot of the discrimination coming from some of my own people, like, other black people, and even some other mixed people that are more black passing, or they just identify as being black and they just don't have any kind of they don't acknowledge any of their other cultures, or like if their mom is black, even sometimes with them. And I think that for mixed people that want to identify with one of their other cultures. So if you are mixed with black and then you have white and Indian or something else in you. So like with Kamla Harris, okay? So because she identified with her Indian side for a while, because her mom is from India, people were like, okay, well, she's not black. But it's like, why is she automatically not black or not black enough just because she was identifying as Indian or like into that culture? That's where her mom is from. So a lot of times, like if your mom is from somewhere else, or she's white or whatever, she's not black, and you identify or you kind of get into that culture, there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like it's a stigma in this country. Like, you're not allowed, unless you're mixed with black and you act black or go more for the black culture. I feel like there's a problem any other way. Like, if you try to identify with your other races, then all of a sudden you're being like a self-hater, or you're not really like identifying with black, so you don't want to be black anymore. And then it's like, okay, fine, you're kicked out, and then you ain't coming back. So like I said, thrown in and out of the space. And that's not right either. It's like, no, we are mixed and we have our own platforms, but we also are allowed to discuss our other cultures too, because that's what we are. So yeah, I mean, this is my rant with this subject. I just wanted to touch on it because it's just so annoying sometimes to hear this. And when people talk about biracials or mixed people and the nasty, disgusting things that they say about us, it just really, it's like, wow, okay, so we're still there. It's 2024, but we're still there. And, you know, a lot of people talk about how white people are so racist and they say racial things. And I'm just like, but you know, with white people, it's like they let it be known and it's there. Like, they say what they say and it's there. They don't switch up and be like, oh, okay, hey, yeah, you're white now. And, oh, no, you're not white. And that's what the difference is that I've noticed. There's no switch up. There's no like code switching here. They are who they are. So that's more respected than someone who is going to accept me one day, but then the next day, if I do something that you don't like or whatever, it's not black enough, then all of a sudden I'm like this mixed mutt or whatever. That's where I have the problem. So I just wanted to address that because that has been on my heart for a long time, where we're not confused. We're just mixed.